Hey everybody, it's Alan Lowen here at the Flagler Voice podcast studio. And I announced the other day on a podcast that we'd like to have candidates that are running for any offices to come in and give their word. And we've had some takers. Our first taker on it today, and I'm excited to have him in the studio, is Aaron Baker. And he's going to be running against Randy Fine. And take it away, Aaron. Give us a little bit of your information.
Okay, so I'm the one that lives here. I'm the one that ran in the special election last time. I live in Lake County, so I live in the southwest portion of the district. I grew up on these beaches. I was born in Lakeland. Actually grew up in Kentucky, but my summers, all of my free time was spent between Daytona Beach and St. Augustine. So right here, Flagler Beach, we have it all right here in this congressional district. The one thing that we're missing is a congressional representative that actually cares about the people here in the 6th congressional district.
Yes. I agree with you on that. And I'm looking back over the past years and year or so, and I don't see a lot of appropriations that came our way.
That's true. And what do you hear on the ground here in Flagler County? And in Lake County, Volusia County, St. Johns, Putnam, Marion, what do you hear all across this district? Flooding infrastructure. Yes. I go to any county council meeting, and 80% of every discussion is flooding and infrastructure. Everything else is...
They're ancillary discussions.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we really need funding for flooding and infrastructure here. Last year, or earlier this year during the special election, the National Realtors Association had me in to, say, okay, well, what committee would you like to be on? Well, number one, infrastructure and development. We need help here, and we need somebody that cares more about the people in this congressional district than somewhere where he is right now.
Well, let me ask you another question. Speaking of that, with the flooding and the infrastructure issues, which specifically Palm Coast, Flagler County, Palm Coast, though, has major issues with. And a lot of people are blaming it on overdevelopment, and a lot of people are blaming it on the lack of height restrictions between an infill lot and a neighboring lot, where the water's running off onto the neighbor's yard and so forth. So we're running on a swale system, which was great when there weren't many houses, but now there's a lot of houses. So what's your take on the development, and what's your take on the whole code variations for the height of lots? If, for instance, in a non-flooding zone in Palm Coast, the slab of your house has to be a minimum of 12 inches above the crown of the road. Well, it got changed a little bit, that now they wanted 18 inches. But if your house next door is 12 inches and you're building 18 inches, but there's no height restriction. So some of these houses are 2 and 3 feet above the house next door. So there's nothing you can do to lower a house that's existing, but it's flooding the neighbor's house, and it's a real disaster. So there needs to be some money to put in proper drainage and stuff. But what's your take on all of that?
Well, on the federal level, what can you do on the federal level? So what I've always said that I would do is every Monday morning have a call with all the county commissioners and say, what do I need to do for you this week? How can I help Palm Coast? How can I help Flagler County? How can I help Volusia? How can every single county in the district? And there's 6, so it's a pretty big district. What can I do to help? As far as exact height restrictions, I think we both know that there's very little that I can do about that on the federal side. But what I can do is make sure that we have the infrastructure in place to catch up with the development, because developers are not going to go away.
No, and that's just a way of life. But really what we're talking about here is money.
We're talking about money, and we're talking about let's spend some money here in the United States of America and not spend all of our money overseas.
Right.
And, $1 billion will go a long way toward what we need here. $1 billion does not go very far when we're paying for foreign countries.
Yeah, we should be taking care of our own backyard.
We should be taking care of our own backyard before we take care of the rest of the world. I understand Mr. Fine thinks that we need to save Western civilization. Well, Western civilization begins at home. It's America first, It's America second. It's America third. It's we take care of Americans before we take care of anyone else on the planet. And right now we're failing at that job. To your point about infrastructure, also Veterans Affairs. I know Congressman Waltz had a person in his office that was really good with Veterans Affairs. I have no idea about Mr. Fine. I'm glad that he's finally opened an office in Flagler County. He released a press statement that earlier today that said that he had retained Congressman Waltz's office in Palm Coast, and I know Congressman Waltz's office in Palm Coast because I've been there, and I don't think that office ever remained open after April the 1st. Mm-hmm. And if somebody in Palm Coast wants to fact check me on that, I don't believe that office ever remained open.
Are you saying that you believe that as we're coming towards an election, we're trying to be nicer to the constituents in the area?
Well, I'm saying that he's the first congressman to have an office in all 6 counties. I understand, that looks good on paper, but also you want to be available to your constituents. I mean, he might have a staff member in this office or this office or this office, but that's not constituent services. Constituent services is you get out there and you understand the flooding and the infrastructure. You understand the Veterans Affairs. You don't do what he calls district palooza, where this is my first stop today and I'm here for 12 minutes, and this is my second stop today and I'm here for 15 minutes, and then just go down the line. You live here and you work here and you know the people here, and that's what we're missing in politics right now.
So, saying that you said earlier that you are from here, from the district, mm-hmm. and so forth. So tell me a little bit more about yourself, your education, background, what you've done, and what brought you to where you are now.
So what brought me to where I am now? Start from the beginning and go, right?
Yeah.
So I'm what's known as a Florida baby. And for those that are listening to the podcast that aren't familiar with what a Florida baby is, back in the day, or back in 1980, when I was born, abortion was not as accessible as it is today. So what happened most often is the parents sent the pregnant daughter to the grandparents' house, and my great-grandparents lived in Winter Haven, very close to Cypress Gardens, and so that's how I became a Florida baby.
Okay.
That's why I also very strong against abortion. I will do everything in my power to make sure that if it's on the ballot again, I don't want the law to ever change to anything more than 6 weeks. I've spoken to religious leaders about the 6-week mark, and I don't ever want that to change. And it wasn't until about 5 years ago that I found out that I have a brother that's 5 years older than me that was born at the exact same Lakeland General Hospital as I was. And my brother still lives in Lakeland to this day, a half-brother. We had a different father, and he's a gun dealer. He has a federal firearms license, and so I know that's also very important. So anyway, kind of getting sidetracked there, but sometimes.
So you're pro First and Second Amendment.
I'm very pro First and Second Amendment. I believe in freedom, and there are so many people now that will trample all over your rights for their cause, whatever their cause might be, and that's not what this country was founded on. This country was founded on freedom, and so anyway. Grew up in Kentucky, born in Lakeland, spent all my summers and school breaks anywhere between Daytona Beach on up to St. Augustine. So this place is really near and dear to my heart. 3 years ago, I had the opportunity of where my father was looking for a house. And because of the changes in housing market, turned out I couldn't afford a house. He couldn't afford a house, but we could afford a house together. So he lives on the west side of the house, and I live on the east side of the house. And what's happened in this country is we've actually gotten to the point where we're betraying the sacred oath that we have to protect our seniors. Every single other first world country, does a better job than we do of protecting our seniors, to the point where now my dad's just about ready to retire. And when he retires, he's going to either move to Panama or move to Colombia, because he can live on pennies compared to what we live on here. At the mayor's town hall the other night, there was a young kid that said, what am I supposed to do after I get out of college here? The average rent, $1,651 a month in Flagler County. How do we prepare for the next generation if we don't take care of what we have? And we need a congressman in Washington that will sit across the table in a reasonable manner and say, okay, what do I do to get this business? What do I do to get this industry to plant their base in Flagler County, in Volusia County, in St. Johns County, so that we have the industry that we need, and we're just a hop, skip, and a jump north of the Space Coast. There's so much business, so much industry. That industry is not going away. It's not going away anytime soon.
It's building faster and faster.
It's building faster and faster. I mean, I would love to have Elon Musk say, okay, guess what? I'll invest $30 billion in Volusia and Flagler County. I mean, that would be a dream come true. We need, we have the basics here, but we have the ability to expand to where we can provide for the next generation.
Sure. Yeah, we do.
We do.
So one of the other parts of that first multi-part question there that I asked a minute ago was your background in education.
Oh, background in education. So I grew up in Kentucky, went through public school in Kentucky, went to the University of Kentucky, started as a business economics major, and dropped out of college. And at that point, I started my own business. Said, these college professors are just wonderful. It's just like the Rodney Dangerfield movie, Back to School, or I think it was Back to School or Back to Campus, or Rodney Dangerfield movie, where the economics professor says, well, in order to start a business, you need this plan, you need this plan, you need this plan, and going through all the steps to start a business. Well, the first business that I ever had was in Greenville, Kentucky, and I had a snow cone stand on the side of the road, right across from the Dairy Queen, and it's now a parking lot. And I sold small shaved ice for $1, medium for $2, and large for $3. And I learned, okay, well, in order for you to have a business, you need to buy the ice, and you need to buy all the flavoring and the cups, and you need to pay payroll taxes, which at 16 years old, I didn't know anything about payroll taxes, so of course now I have to hire an accountant that can withhold payroll taxes for my friends that are 15 and 16 that are working at the snow cone stand. So I really got a very good firsthand experience in business, and then you have to go through the health department, and you have to pass your health, and you have to have this much water on hand to be able to wash your hands, and you have to have this type of gloves. These aren't things that they teach you in college. These are things that you learn in real life. And I don't think that our generation right now, they need to get off their phone. They need to get out of... We say the basement, even though we don't have any basements in Florida,
right.
Or it would be a swimming pool, especially in like Flagler Estates. It would really be a swimming pool. But, we need to prepare these young kids for the real world. So I'm not the twice Harvard educated person, but
well, that might make you a little bit more open-minded.
Well, as a general contractor, I can tell you one thing. I know how to get things done.
That's the key.
And, I understand the permitting process is an absolute nightmare right now. I tell the story about one poor guy in Port Orange. We were doing the dune crossover after the hurricane. He started having a handyman rebuild it himself, and then the neighbor and he don't get along very well. So what did the neighbor do? Of course, the neighbor called the county.
Sure.
Of course. So now he's got a stop work order. So now I have to hire an architect, which we actually have a part-time architect that works at NASA part-time also, that we work with quite extensively. So now we've got to do a drawing, and now we've got to submit it to the county. But hold on, county, because it's beachfront, county has to submit it to the Department of Environment. And guess what? Well, now it's sea turtle mating season, and Well, you know what? A sea turtle just happened to lay eggs underneath the beach dune crossover. So this has been going on for 2 years. I understand. We need help. We need just common sense back in this world.
And you're talking about a project that would take, what, a week, 2 weeks to complete?
The project's already done, except for the handrails. He can't finish the handrails. So the steps are built, the platform's built, and he can't finish the handrails because the county has a stop work order.
Your background in business at this time is you're a contractor.
I am. So I'm business partners with a general contractor. We hold both residential license. We're not a developer. So there's a difference. We're not a new home builder. We do remodeling. We do kitchens, bathrooms. We do additions. Just started one yesterday that got the permits yesterday for a Florida room that we're adding on to the back of a house. So that type of thing. And
Sure.
Also roofing.
So, well, yeah, I find it very important that we have somebody that is not on the developer's level, but somebody that knows the permitting processes and the construction processes and all of that, because as you said earlier, infrastructure and the development and the flooding, it's all hand in hand and it needs to be worked out. So when you're up and pulling for appropriations monies and so forth for us, your mindset, it appears, is going to be closer to fixing our infrastructure issues throughout the various counties in your district.
Correct. And also I grew up on a 160-acre farm. So I've got some agriculture background as well. So once we get out to more rural, Flagler County,
Sure.
Putnam County, Marion County, that Marion County used to be the horse capital of the world. They still say that they're the horse capital of the world, but a lot of those farms are not those farms anymore. A lot of those farms are, they pave paradise and put up a parking lot, as the saying goes.
So, yeah.
I get it.
Well, I appreciate you coming in here and talking to us, and I'd like to invite you back anytime as the thing goes on. And if you do happen to be successful and win, I'd love to have you come in and be able to update our audience on the various things that are going on and where we're headed.
Well, and I really appreciate that, because I really believe that we just need someone that is not a political elite. We need somebody that will show up and that will say, hey, every time I go to First Friday in Flagler, I always want to adopt a dog. I have 2 dogs. I have 2 St. Bernards, so it would be a little tricky, but there are certain things that pull at our heartstrings that, we want to do better as a community, as a society. We have a lot of areas for improvement, but having someone set up in an ivory tower and tell us, this is this is what we're going to do, and that's no help to us. How is that any help to the people on the ground? One of the reasons that I originally got in this race is because I live it every day. I see exactly what's going on. And it breaks my heart when I go to my little Circle K on the corner, and if I pull up to get gas and the person in front of me got $4 worth of gas, and I look at the pump over there and they got $8 worth of gas, and this person got $10 worth of gas, and this person actually filled up. That to me is people still struggling to get back and forth to work every single day. And Americans deserve better. Americans deserve a heck of a lot better than having to live paycheck to paycheck. We need some real America first, patriotic, Florida-loving people in Washington.
Well, I'm really glad to hear you say that, and I'm going to wish you good luck in your campaign and in your election. And as I said, anytime you'd like to come back and speak again, we'd love to have you. So that's going to end it for today. If you have any questions after seeing this video, please put them in the comments, and we'll see if we can't get them over so that you can answer them for them.
Perfect. Can I give my website a plug?
Give everything. Go ahead.
Okay. Website is very easy. It's aaronfl.com. That's it.
That's pretty easy.
You can find all of my contact information, email, phone number, any ways to donate. There's only one way that we're going to be able to take back our government, and that's through $5 donations, $10 donations, I know from the special election, I don't need the millions and millions of dollars. I was actually talking to a political analyst on the way over here, and he said, "Aaron, I think you probably only need $300,000, $400,000, $500,000." He said, based on your cost per vote of being $6 in the primary versus fines over $100, you're not going to need that same level of money. You're going to need some money, but I need the people of this district to understand that in order for us to have representation, we're actually going to have to pay for it. And we're going to have to pay a little bit, not a lot. And I will have your back from day one once I get there.
That's awesome. And so once again, I'm going to give you your website, which is, it's Aaron FL or FL Aaron?
Aaron FL.
Aaron FL. So it's AARON FL. .com. It can't get any easier than that.
Can't get it any easier.
And we'll put that in the description of this video as well, so people get a hold of you if they'd like to. Again, I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you
very much.